Hi Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope for 2024. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I am really looking forward to 2024 because we have a massive shift happening at the very start of this new year. On the 21st of January, we have Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, death and rebirth. That ingresses into Aquarius. It moves out of the sign of Capricorn and it shifts into Aquarius. And that is very, very significant. Pluto is an outer planet, so it moves very slowly. It's the planet that's furthest away in the solar system. If you draw up your birth chart, you'll see this wheel, if that's how it's represented, that is split into 12 different sections. Those are the 12 houses of the chart. If you put your transits around it, so you look at how the planets are moving over your natal chart, you can see the kind of path of each planet. And you'll notice that Pluto moves so slowly that it only ever touches 4 of your houses, well, 3 or 4 of your houses in your entire lifetime. So you've got 12 houses and it stays in 3 or 4 of them because it's that slow. Just as a comparison, Jupiter goes around the chart, all 12 houses, once a year. Moves much more quickly. So when Pluto makes a change of sign, like it does here, it's a really significant event because as an outer planet, it doesn't just affect the individual, it affects the consciousness on a global level. It's what society values now that they didn't value 10 years ago, but suddenly they value this. Or it's what really is the focus and what is seen as important and necessary. And that shift, so it really talks about all of these things like generations and people who are born during a certain era think a certain way. And that really is a concept that aligns with astrology because this shift now, it happens on the 21st of January 2024. And for the most part, Pluto will now stay in Aquarius until 2044. So it's for the next 2 decades. So anyone who's going to be born over the next 20 years will have Pluto in Aquarius rather than Pluto in Capricorn. And it's a really big difference. So Pluto in Capricorn, where it's been since 2008, the focus has been on the way we work and being productive and listening to the rules and connecting with institutions and really allowing ourselves to be controlled to a certain degree with this carrot being dangled that says, if you work hard and if you stay in line, everything is going to be okay. Whether that's worked out or not, I don't think was such an area of interest. But really, that has been the focus and what was seen as valuable. If you think about this in terms of practical circumstances, in 2008, we had the credit crunch. I was in the UK at the time and I was working in a bank and I really witnessed this, like people pulling all their money out and sending it to Iceland and mortgages just imploding. It was a disaster and things that people had relied on for a long time suddenly went up in smoke. And that then, the rug is being completely pulled out from under me. And it's been this challenging energy of Capricorn, which is the sign of the worker, and I am productive and I set goals and I do my very best to achieve those goals. But then with Pluto, it's constantly been undermined as such because all of that work was then, the whole circumstance changed, or there were things that were outside of your control. So on one hand, it was this sense of work really hard and be diligent and good and fit in. And then on the other side, it was like, okay, well, I've done all of that. Where's my reward? What have I got to show for this now? And then it was shrugs all around. Oh. So it's been really challenging. For you guys, Pisces, Pluto has been in Capricorn, and here at the beginning of 2024, it's in your 11th house. When it shifts over into Aquarius, it moves into your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. So when Pluto is in Aquarius, it's much more aligned with the sign because the only thing you can rely on with Pluto is that things are always going to change. The phoenix rising from the ashes, one side of the coin or the other. When I look at Pluto in a birth chart, I always look at that as the thing in life, in someone's experience, that is the most extreme. That's going to be one way for a while, and that then completely flips and turns into something other. And that's the one thing you can really count on with Pluto, is that you can't count on anything except change and the opposite of what you'd expected. So Aquarius is an air sign. It's the sign of the humanitarian, the teacher, the person who innovates and thinks outside of the box. And it's all about ideas and using those ideas to be of service to to use it for the greater good, for humanity. So it's a much better fit because Aquarius is all about ideas over institutions and personal freedom and innovation and radical new ways of thinking and even idealism and really kind of having one area of focus and being an activist in that area and ultimately affecting social change. So there's the word change through thinking and ideas. So Pluto in Aquarius is much more aligned with that. And on the 21st, it leaves your 11th house of hopes and dreams and connections with others, which for you guys, Pisces, it may have felt like it's been a bit of a slog lately. You know, I've got this desire, I want to achieve it, I've been working very hard, but I've got zero to show for it, and I'm getting a bit fed up. You know, that kind of vibe. With it now going into your 12th house in Aquarius, it's totally different. It says your ideas, you know, forget about what you've been working on so long and the disappointment and things have been hard. This is a blank slate, a clean slate. And what's happening is that your connection to the higher realms, through your intuition, through your feelings, you're going to notice that suddenly all of these amazing new ideas for what could be start to arrive in your head, for want of a better word, or in your gut, or in your wherever you receive messages. So you're much more aligned with the future and where you are now and what could be than the past. So it immediately lightens things up considerably, and it makes you much more optimistic, and it gives you this sense that anything is possible. And it reaffirms that if in spiritual truth it can exist, then of course it can exist here on planet Earth, macrocosm, microcosm. And I'm starting to see beyond the surface things, and I'm starting to see beyond the limitations, and I'm actually starting to see the opportunities again. So you're going to notice that you go into this new year, and particularly around the 21st, and there's this great sense of lightness and anything is possible. And I feel that that will invigorate you and give you a new sense of motivation. What's also significant is that on the first day of this new year, on the 1st of January, Mercury, the communication planet, which has been in retrograde since the 12th of December 2023, it goes direct on the first day of this new year. And I always look at things like that. I mean, symbolically, we're starting a whole new 365-day cycle. And on the first day of that, the communication planet starts to function really well and effectively so that you can see clearly and that you can action your ideas without miscommunication. I pay attention to stuff like that because I think that's the area for you to go into to try and organize all of this new inspiration that's coming your way and to steadily address each new idea and to see where it leads you. So you're not going to be short for content and things to work towards. We only have Mercury going retrograde 3 times this year instead of 4 times. So that again says that ideas are going to flow more quickly than they usually do. The 3 times Mercury does go retrograde from the 1st of April to the 25th of April, 5th of August to the 28th of August, and then finally 25th of November till the 15th of December. So what I'm looking at mostly, or what I think is significant here, is that ultimately communication speeds up, more ideas are shared, and more things are going to be actioned. What I think is less relevant is the usual issues of Mercury retrograde, which is like communication things in a practical sense not being as reliable. So the email didn't arrive when I sent it, and the car doesn't start, and the bus is late, and I read the letter, but I took the wrong thing from it. When Mercury is retrograde, and with all the retrogrades, whether it's personal planets or outer planets, I always think when it's in retrograde, the energy is felt internally, and when it's direct, you'll notice it in the outside world. So when Mercury is retrograde, during these times, it gives you an idea to reevaluate your own ideas and to tune them and to be more objective about them and to say, is this something that I can apply and is this useful or not? And I know I'm repeating myself, but the key thing is that there are only 3, not 4. So I think the motion is forward and not backwards. And it's not about over-analysis. It's about, this is a new idea. I haven't had a great new idea like this in months. Of course, I'm going to do something with it. And it's that sense of motivation that you get this year in 2024, which I think you'll find very refreshing. Personal planet Venus is also direct all year, which is great news because Venus, when that goes retrograde, that's a problem in terms of I want to start a new business or a new relationship. When Venus goes retrograde, my perception is unreliable and I can't trust my own feelings of what I love. Because when the planet goes direct again, I look back on what I did in the last month or 2 and it's like, oh, what was I kind of doing? I don't have any interest in that anymore. So I kind of wasted my time. Let's go back to the drawing board. So there's none of that in 2024. The focus is in one direction, and Venus at the beginning of the year here is in Sagittarius. So you hit the ground running in terms of what can I explore, how can I be inspired, and how can I inspire others. Mars is motivation and drive, and that also only goes retrograde at the very end of 2024 on the 6th of December, and it stays in retrograde until the 23rd of February 2025, which is quite a long time. So Mars is responsible for drive and really your ability to say, I'm going to walk this rocky road because I have a mission and I'm going to achieve that mission. So that's not going to slow you down. In fact, it's going to allow you to get a lot more done. So what I'm getting so far is that you're supported in the amount of new ideas that you get. You then have Pluto constantly bringing up more content. And then at the same time, you have Saturn, structure, security, and your ruler, Neptune, in your first house of self. So I think it's about ideas about yourself in order to heal yourself, anything that is unhealed. And it's like an opportunity to let go of the past and to acclimatize yourself to an energy and a dynamic that feels a lot easier. But then also, and I'm being literal here, I think you'll receive a lot more ideas that when you implement them, you can use to heal others, to use creatively through some sort of output like music or art or sculpture or writing. Or a new idea in terms of how can I nurture other people through food or design or the home or hands-on healing or energy healing or things like that. So I'm getting all this energy, and I, as a Pisces, can channel that into a particular, or translate it into a particular type of energy, which I can use to either be creative or healing or nurturing. Okay, so I want to have a look at a couple of specific things. On the 27th of January, we have Uranus, the planet of the miraculous and unexpected. That has been in retrograde since the 28th of August 2023, and that now goes direct on the 27th of January. So again, it's going to be expressed more in the outside world. And Uranus is in Taurus in your third house of communication. So there'll be a much greater need to find some sort of container for your ideas. And what I mean by this is I want to have all these things floating around in my head. I want to encapsulate them in different things. So on Monday, I want to paint the picture, and then on Tuesday, I want to write about this, and then on Wednesday. So what you'll find is that once Uranus goes direct, that you're going to be incredibly prolific, especially when it comes to your outputs in any of those areas that I just mentioned, creative healing, nurturing. So, I mean, if you're thinking of, I want to learn how to cook, I mean, that wasn't a very good example, but it's really easy. So the desire to, I don't know, put all my love and my creativity into some food that I'm then going to serve other people who I really care about, you'll find the right teacher very easily, and you'll acquire those kind of skills very easily to put some sort of form and structure to what you're feeling internally. That's where I think you shine, this intermediary point between spirituality meets the real world or the physical world, and you're in the middle, and you're getting ideas from both directions. On the 25th of March, we have a lunar eclipse in Libra, and that takes place in your 8th house of institutions and groups of people and communities and companies and organizations. So it's where any group of people are gathered to and they have a common goal. And with the lunar eclipse in Libra, you're going to feel a great sense of, I think, camaraderie and a sense of ease. And you'll also be able to find what you can contribute to that situation, to include more of your personality into it. And that allows you, if you want, for instance, if you're in a working situation and you want the promotion and you've been looking at that, or you want to do something independently on your own, you're either able to add something creative or all those things I mentioned into a work situation that you're already in, or some sort of community you're part of, and really inspire the people around you and get them to recognize what you contributed. Or you're able to communicate something on your own, which is a new kind of format that you're just learning. So either way, you're bubbling over with creativity and kind of water energy, which you can use to connect to other people and create a greater sense of unity. Or you can create something independently that then a lot of people are going to connect with. Wow. Okay, so if you're in a situation where some club meets once a week and the atmosphere has become a little tense, you're not going to have to try very hard to come up with a solution to kind of lift the mood. And not just in that moment, but to kind of remind people why they're there and what the common purpose is. So you can really kind of soothe any friction and tension. I'm just thinking as I'm saying that. That's all very well and nice and great. And I think you'll get something in return for that, in the sense of people will recognize your contribution. You'll also feel like you've made something positive that other people can enjoy. But that kind of thing is fleeting. And in a week or a month or two, people will have forgotten that. Whereas if you take that energy and you put it into a physical thing, it's going to sit there for as long as that thing exists or is alive. And a painting can last for hundreds of years. And your novel can be read in 500 years. So I would say, please consider how this is going to benefit you in the long run, or really how you want to take all of this creativity and do it justice and make it last for as long as possible. Okay. On the 8th of April, we have a solar eclipse in Aries. And that takes place in your 2nd house of money and belongings. So that really underpins what I just said, because the sun in Aries in your 2nd, and this being an eclipse, you're going to be able to reevaluate, okay, I'm giving all this energy, how much of it is for me and how much is it for other people? And on this day, there is a lot of balance in the chart. So you'll be able to get a very balanced view of the best way forward. So if you've been unclear about that, wait via the lunar eclipse on the 25th of March, 2 weeks later until the solar eclipse on the 8th of April, and you'll be able to set a goal and to pursue it. On the 2nd of May, Pluto begins its retrograde until the 11th of October, and it starts its march back into Capricorn. It retrogrades back into Capricorn on the 2nd, stays there, and then moves forward again into Aquarius on the 19th of November. So it's starting to kind of move backwards. It's still in Aquarius in your 12th house, so it's constant connection and download of ideas. If you're into, for instance, if you want to invent something, it's whether you're religious or spiritual or not, it's saying, hey, listen, I want to, if anyone benign out there is listening to me, I want this, support me, please. You're going to be supported not just by other people, but the universe is kind of listening. And if you work in a deliberate way, like as a channel or as a teacher or as a medium or as a healer, you're going to be flooded with information which you can use in that kind of work. And that extends again to the creative, musical, kind of anything along those lines. I always look at water as being a very fine line between spirituality and also creativity, and because I feel the two go hand in hand. So whichever area is of interest to you or both, really see at what you can produce. You're going to be super prolific is what I'm saying. Okay. On the 26th of May, we have Jupiter, the lucky planet. That goes into Gemini, and it goes into your fourth house of roots and family and things that make you feel like you belong. And that is so positive because you're going to enjoy such good luck and good fortune in your family situation, whether that's the family of your birth, there isn't going to be conflict, or there's very, very little potential for conflict. If you're single and you want to create a structured kind of family unit, or you want to create a friend group who you see regularly, this allows you to connect very easily with other people and to bring those people into your life. And a lot of people struggle with this, especially, like when you get older and the fewer institutions like schools and universities and clubs and stuff you belong to, it feels more difficult to make friends, but you're going to find it very easy to connect with people. And you also have this affinity with institutions. So, if you used to go to the tennis club and now you don't, or if you played backgammon and now you don't, maybe get back into something just for fun that connects you with others. There's huge potential for you to meet people who are going to become a part of the fabric of your life. So a good friend, not just someone who's here in May and gone on in June, but someone who's around for a while. And that's what I think over the May-June period, that's where you're massively supported in making these new meaningful connections. On the 29th of June, we've got Saturn going retrograde until the 15th of November, and next to it, 10 degrees away from it, so it's conjunct, Neptune, your ruler, also goes retrograde until the 7th of December, and they're both in your sign of Pisces, so in your first house. So there's this wonderful sense of well-being and ease, and I'm kind of living the dream, and I don't need to strive for anything, and I don't need to acquire anything. I'm satisfied as I am. And in my experience, that brings in the element of irony. When someone's totally satisfied and content with what they've got, the universe tends to throw more good things at them. When you're desperately longing for things like a need, that's when you don't get. That's when it's bye-bye. So I really think that you're super at ease and comfortable here, and expect more good things, particularly in your relationships and your creative output. And then think about how you, if you want, how you can turn that into an extra source of income, or how you can turn that into your main career if you want to. Wow, I love it. On the 1st of September, we've got Uranus, the planet of the miraculous and unexpected, going retrograde until the 30th of January 2025. And that retrogrades in your third house of communication in Taurus. So again, the chaos and the willingness to do things differently exists in here. And again, you're willing to look at different modalities, different formats for you to capture your creativity in. So if I'm doing pranic healing, maybe I'll look into being a chiropractor. Or if I've been drawing with acrylics, maybe I want to express myself through, I don't know, pottery. It's about changing it and finding a new way of expressing yourself. On the 17th of September, we have the lunar eclipse in your sign of Pisces, so that is very significant. And that takes place 17th of September. Hang on. Don't move by yourself. Oh, it happens in your 12th house. No, it happens in your first house of self, and it sits in between Saturn and Neptune. Both of those are in retrograde in your sign in this first house of self. So the moon is your heart, your feelings. So this is really where you find a natural affinity. All these things you've been trying out and testing out, you'll be like, okay, I've hit the nail on the head. I picked this because I'm really good at it. And I didn't know that last year, but I know it now. So I'm going to start doing this more. So there's a rhyme and reason for you to do all this experimentation, because you find something that is going to last. And that then would even extend to relationships where, okay, I met this person. Initially, it was just, an acquaintance and stuff. And we've been hanging out. We've had lunch a few times. I know this is going to be a friend of mine. And that, you can't really generate that or be told that. You either feel it or you don't. On the 2nd of October, we've got a solar eclipse in Libra, and that's in your 8th. So the eclipse, the sun is your identity, right? So this being a solar eclipse, the way you operate in those institutions, you've done so well the whole year, and that's really an area that's been highlighted and supported, making new friends and new groups that you belong to. But now you even kind of reach new heights in the sense that what you've done so far leads to something bigger, or you decide to kind of start your own group that brings a lot of like-minded people to you. So basically the point is that the focus on the self and what I need isn't very urgent for you because you feel so contented and you're so connected, you get everything that you want and need. So you have a lot of time and patience for others, and that's obviously going to go down well. Other people will sense that and appreciate it. So you can really expand your social network and even solidify it and make it into something more formal if you choose. So again, for instance, if you get the desire to, I want to go to the local dog shelter and volunteer, and then you have wonderful experiences there, and there's kind of an opportunity to do something on your own, and you just happen to have 20 acres of land in your backyard, and you're like, why not? It's that kind of thing. One thing leads to another that then ultimately is a positive influence in your life and for other people. And it's that kind of sense of I'm content and I feel good because I've been of service and I'm making a positive contribution. So you can do both. You can focus on your own creative output and on working with others. You're able to operate on both levels. And there's nothing about the self so much, but I mean that from the sense of selfishness. It's not that you're denying yourself or neglecting yourself or not paying attention to your own needs. Your needs are met. So this 2024 looks like a wonderful, very pleasant holiday in the sense of the way you're going to go through it and what your areas of focus are. I mean, reading between the lines, if I'm able to focus on my creativity and creating new incomes and spending time making new friends and going on dates and meeting new partners, which is also supported, then it kind of says that your practical circumstances aren't going to be so chaotic that you constantly need to work on them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the time to make all these friends and things. So it looks very solid and stable, which I have to say, Pisces, out of all of the signs, pretty much, you're the one who's going to enjoy the most comfort. Because with the Pluto shift from Capricorn into Aquarius, some people are going to be really wow, what's going on here? I feel totally at a loss. You're not as affected by that as much, and you're cushioned in a way, so it feels less jarring. And then on the 9th of October, finally, we have Jupiter going retrograde until the 4th of February 2025, and Jupiter retrogrades again in your 4th house. So I can be myself and I can make new connections in whatever area of life that I want, whether it's formal things through institutions and groups and societies, or whether I want a romantic partner, or whether I want to spend more time with my family, or if I want to express, again, and my literal interpretation, the sense of ease and home that I've got, and if I want to get that down in writing and publish it as a book, or create a painting that when people look at it, they get that sense of comfort and home that I'm experiencing, so I can share it with the world that way. Okay, so that's what I get for you in 2024. I hope it gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website, gregoryscott.com. Check out some of my other videos, the monthly horoscopes, the weekly horoscopes, and the daily tarot readings. Have a great time here, and hopefully I'll speak to you in person. All the best. Take care.